forward and I'm going to introduce the interpreters. We have Heidi and Florencia. Would you like to
Hi.
say a little bit about your role here and what you'll be doing today?
Yes. Hi, everyone. I'm only going to say this in English because it appears there are no Spanish speakers here yet. But we are here to support multilingual space, bilingual in this case. And so we're using Zoom's interpretation feature. You should be able to see if you are if you're on your computer, there will be a globe offering the interpretation channels at the bottom, in the bottom bar, and there you would click on the globe and it would allow you to select one of the channels. And we encourage everyone to practice doing that, just even if right now there is no interpretation because everybody speaks English, but it's a really good practice to co-create the space together. If you're on a phone, the way to access the channel is where it says ... or more, and there you would click on it and it would say interpretation, and then you select the English channel, and then you hit done, and that is how you can participate in co-creating this space to be bilingual and open for everyone to participate. We also ask everyone who shares to speak at a leisurely pace, sort of like I am speaking right now. That allows the interpreters to interpret everything. And if you are speaking a little too fast, we're going to signal like this. And if you see us doing this signal, which is like two hands coming together and then pulling apart, it means please speak a little more slowly. And if you see us going like this, which is two hands indicating to like raise or go up, that means please speak a little more loudly. I think that's it. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. Okay, so today is on our agenda is food justice and mutual aid. So, Rhea, did you want to speak to the agenda today?
Sure. Hi, good afternoon, and welcome back, everyone. Great to see so many people here again. Yeah, I'm just going to share the agenda for today. All right. So hopefully people can see the agenda. I'll read through it as well. So we have the first week one, that was the agenda from Tuesday. Then below we have today, April 22nd. The topic is food justice. Yeah, so we're going to start with the welcome, agenda, and attendance that we're doing now. Then Regina and Isa are going to go over what is food justice, history of food programs and community gardens, and mutual aid. And we'll show a couple short videos in that as well. Then we have a short break. There might be a short meditation or breath work, or we might just, step away from our computers and use the bathroom, get water, anything you need. Then at 1:30, we have someone from the Alameda County Food Bank talk about food pickup and CalFresh. Miriam Juarez is her name. At 1:45, we have Zach from the Mutual Aid Project speaking about the Mutual Aid program. At 2, we have Charlie Deterline from Meals on Wheels. And 2:15, Danielle and Vera from City Slicker Farms and the Town Fridge are going to speak about those programs. And then we have another short break, and then full group discussion reflection at the end. So we have a lot of speakers today, which, Regina did an awesome job finding all these people to talk about different food justice projects in the Bay Area. And there'll be a little time for Q&A after each speaker too. So if you have questions, make sure to either jot them down or just hold them in your mind, and there'll be time to ask. Yeah, I'm going to stop sharing now. Turn it back to
Thank you
Regina.
so much, Rhea. Okay, so I'm just going to go ahead and dive right in. So I'm looking at food justice and what exactly is that? And from my understanding, it is people of color, senior and people with disabilities are the most severely impacted by hunger, poor food access, diet-related illness, and other problems with the food system. The food justice movement works not only for access to healthy food for all, but it also examines the structural roots of these inequities. And we also work for racial and economic justice too. So when people ask, what is food justice? I like to respond that it's a holistic and structural view of our entire food system that sees healthy food as a human right. And we address those barriers to everyone receiving healthy food. For example, if I live in an area where corner stores are plenty and grocery stores are non-existent, and I have to go 5 to 7 miles to get fresh produce, I may begin to work with organizations and community members and local farmers, and also cottage industry food makers to start a farmer's market in my neighborhood. Farmers markets now accept EBT, and they also do a $10 food match. So that is some of the work that I would do, or I would think about, to create food justice in my community. And with food justice, we think about food sovereignty, when people have enough. And as people's rights to healthy and culturally appropriate food is produced in a way that is good for the environment and sustainable methods that don't pollute the water, don't pollute the earth, and people have the right to be in charge of and define their own food systems. And another example of that is I identify as an African American who has Choctaw and Chickasaw heritage from the South. So when planting a garden, I advocate for things that are culturally relevant to my diet, such as collard greens, yams, mustard greens, okra, and corn beans and squash, as these are my native foods. So this is the lens that we view, this is the lens that I view food justice and the food justice movement through. And so if Rhea can cue up, I have a short video that speaks to the history of food stamps as we know it and that program and how it evolved, because that is part of our food system. Thank you, Rhea.
Thank you so much, Regina. That's a great overview. All right, so I'm going to share this short video.
The Trump administration is on track to institute some controversial changes to the country's food assistance program. But how did that government benefit become the system people know today? The country's food assistance is officially known as the Supplemental Nutrition Assistance Program, or SNAP, but it's commonly referred to as food stamps. And that name derives from the early versions of the program that literally used stamps. The first food stamp program was started in 1939 to help address both widespread unemployment and food surpluses. Eligible families bought orange food stamps and used them to buy whatever food they wanted. For every $1 of orange stamps they purchased, they received 50 cents in blue stamps. The blue stamps could only be used to buy foods the government said were in surplus. That program ended in 1943. And it was 18 years before the government started a food assistance program up again. In 1961, President John F. Kennedy launched a food stamp pilot program. It worked a lot like the previous one, since families still had to purchase food stamps. But the stamps became cheaper. For example, a family that paid $22 for food stamps would receive $62 in vouchers. The Kennedy pilot program was tested in select regions around the country. In 1964, President Lyndon B. Johnson signed the Food Stamp Act, making the program permanent. Various laws have modified it since then. changing the eligibility guidelines, work requirements, or funding levels. Notably, in 1977, under President Jimmy Carter, Congress eliminated the purchase requirement, which meant the government started distributing food stamps to eligible families for free. Today, families get their SNAP benefits delivered electronically into an account they use like a debit card. They can buy foods like fruits, vegetables, meat, bread, cereal, and snacks. But the benefits can't be used to buy alcohol, vitamins or supplements, prepared foods, or household products like cleaning supplies or pet food.
Thank you, Rhea. That's just a little bit of our history around food stamps. And I just want to say that in looking around the issue of organizing, I noticed in the video how they did a match program early on when they talked about you could buy $22 worth and get 62 in vouchers, which is something that they re-implemented in the current food stamp program now, or should I say EBT program now at the farmers markets, where it's like you can buy $10, use your EBT to charge $10, and you get $10 of tokens, and they will match you another $10 in tokens. And so that brings me to the segue around community gardens as part, community and personal gardens as part of our food systems. And so this video is called Victory Gardens in the Pandemic.
All right, 1 second, I just had to pull it up.
Thank you so much, Rhea.
You have to leave and come back.
Gardens played a big role on the home front during the dark days of World War II. Now, Tracy Smith tells us they're back.
This week, the flowers at Rogers Gardens in Newport Beach, California, are in full, dazzling bloom. It's as if to remind us that even in the middle of our upended lives, spring somehow arrived on time. But these days, it's only the bees seem to be interested in flowers. Right now, nurseries like this one are selling out of vegetables.
What do you got there?
I got tomato plants, heirlooms, black zebra.
After weeks of seeing empty grocery store shelves, home gardeners are snapping up everything from lettuce to lemon trees, says Rogers General Manager Ron Vanderhoff.
But what are customers buying?
Things that relate to food. They don't want to go out in public, but they also want the safety and security of a nutritious food. And no better way to do that than to grow your own. Nothing's better than going out to your garden and picking a tomato off the vine.
Maybe try onions if you can find them from seed.
And now it seems gardening how-to videos are, forgive me, sprouting up everywhere.
Stop panicking, stop overbuying the toilet paper, and get out and start a garden. Pick a spot tonight, pick a spot.
Grow-it-yourself food, you might say, is suddenly just the thing.
People here say seed sales have doubled, maybe even tripled. And it might surprise you that tomato plants are going at the rate of 800 a day. What's not so surprising, and certainly not new, is the notion of growing your own food when times get tough.
It all started back in 1917, when the government called on people to grow war gardens to free up food for soldiers fighting overseas in World War I. And by the 1940s, same idea, different name.
Victory Garden. That's the answer. We can grow food for victory in our own backyards.
And grow they did in every available patch of land, even in the shadow of New York's Chrysler Building. All told, an estimated 20 million World War II victory gardens produced nearly 40% of the nation's fruits and vegetables. The goals today aren't quite as ambitious, but having a home garden still beats another trip to the grocery store.
Are you guys spending more time out here in the garden?
Well, we definitely have a lot more time to be in the garden.
Christina Nylander is a pediatrician who thought planting veggies might get her 2 kids to eat more of them. But in the end, it's not just about the food. With all the watering and the weeding, your own COVID-19 victory garden can produce what might be the most valuable commodity of all these days: escape.
It sounds like in this time of so much negative news, this could be one of the little positives to come out of it.
We want to be a happy place where we're providing food and a little bit of distraction, but we also want a person's garden to be their happy place where they can do the same. So yeah, happy places are really important right now.
Hello? Who is it? Yeah. Okay.
I hope that left everybody with some food for thought about, yeah, a little pun there. Yeah, about gardening and what that could look like, maybe at your home, and how growing food is a part of horticulture therapy. And it could be very calming and balancing, as well as nourishing for the mind, body, and spirit. And with that, we're going to move with talking about mutual aid and the history of mutual aid. And with that, we have Asa with our Cross Bay Mutual Aid Project to present.
Okay. Come on, come on. I'm sorry.
Can you hear me?
We can hear you.
Yes, we can hear you. Ah, wow.
Asa, you're muted right now.
Sweet. Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Okay. So just to share a little bit briefly about the history of mutual aid, I have some slides, but I have a feeling that probably my bandwidth won't be able to. Oh, I'm also logging on the laptop. I'll just share this. And in the meantime, let me see. I'll use them as a reference for myself so that I can remember what I'm talking about. So I am no expert at all. I just have been involved in a mutual aid project for the last year or so. Really enjoy doing it. And the things that I'm going to share in the next few minutes, I learned in a Google search. So I'm not really an expert, but just happy to share some perspectives of what I understand. Mutual aid is the idea that people come together and help each other survive. There's support for each other in the face of serious risk to survival, whether that's from oppressive forces or the elements or whatever it is. And supporting each other as human beings for the good of the collective is something that many people think is just, that I believe is innately human. And so mutual aid has been happening since human beings have been around, basically. Is one little thing to consider about like the history of mutual aid. But there are many projects throughout the course of US history, because as we know, since the US has been around, it's been an oppressive force with, government, with, let me stick to what I was gonna say. So first of all, before colonization, indigenous nations on Turtle Island practiced mutual aid, although they may not have called it that. It looked in different ways for different nations, but it's definitely not something that was started, with the start of the United States. In the early 19th century, free Black communities practiced mutual aid, and many people would argue that communities of slaves practiced mutual aid to be able to survive the conditions of slavery. In the 19th century, there were mutual aid groups among Latin miners who were working in the Southwest and needed to basically have their basic needs met. They needed to have food and water, so they would steal, share, or sort of grab whatever they could and share it with each other to be able to survive. The 1900s labor movement, there are mutual aid networks there. Of course, one of the most famous examples that people reference these days is the Black Panther Party and their survival programs, free and reduced lunch, community health clinics, education programs that were offered to community members. Also, the queer, trans, people of color, QTPOC houses and sort of family structures that have been made over time, beginning in some would say beginning in the 60s and lasting to this day, where people are finding community with each other and making sure that everybody has their needs met. So the basic idea that I just wanted to convey is that basically wherever there is struggle to survive, we'll probably find mutual aid. Oppressive systems have been met with collective resistance over time. And while that resistance happens, marginalized communities practice mutual aid to survive this oppression and to be able to make it. Mutual aid is being able to create systems other than our government or other than, sort of entrenched systems that are hurting us. Mutual aid helps us create alternatives to those systems right now, so that we can survive and build a better world right now, as opposed to waiting for those systems to be fixed or to change or transform on their own time. So it puts things on the timeline of the collective, on the timeline of the people. That is all that I had prepared. I had some slides, and I will make sure that they are shared with Regina, and that people who attended are welcome to see my slides and the articles that I read to be able to prepare that information. Yeah, how's that sound?
That sounds wonderful. Thank you, Asa. That's so much information that I didn't even know of. And thank you for putting in the context around marginalized groups, people of color, and others who have had to come together for survival, as that being like the foundation of mutual aid work. And I love it that that you were also able to talk about resources that we have in addition to or outside of the government and city services that are already there. And that's what today is about. So I thought that was a really amazing presentation. Does anybody have any questions?
Are you calling on me, Regina?
I'm sorry.
Oh, can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay, I don't know why I kept muting. Yeah, I just wanted to ask Asa, what are some of the things you've done with the mutual aid project since you joined?
Yeah, so Zach is also here, and I know that they could speak to this as well later today, but so the project that I'm a part of is called Cross Bay Mutual Aid, and it started up as a response to the pandemic because there were very serious food insecurity, and also just the mutual aid project worked with the intention of supporting specifically seniors and people with disabilities and essential workers. So also people with disabilities have specific needs that need to be met, and those needs obviously don't go away when we just say that we shut down businesses or that sort of thing. So the project has mainly set up a lot of people with groceries and regular grocery deliveries, and also there have been phone buddies matching, so sort of community connections over the phone. There's a small home care side of things where we would have some volunteers, based on people's comfort, help people out in their homes with prepared meals or cleaning or whatever it is. So those are some of the main things that we provide. And some financial assistance. There's kind of many hats that we wear, because when you offer up to support people in the community, you find that people are offering many different things, and people need many different things. And so the role of our group, I think, is to try and just make those connections and match people together across the wild distance that we've been managing.
Thank you for that detailed explanation, Asa. Does anybody else have any questions?
Yes, I do. My name is Shirley. I was calling, I want to ask Asa, does the program help pay for utility bills? I know someone that's kind of need help paying the utility bill. Is there any help with that?
That's a great question, and I don't honestly know the best answer to it. We don't really give straight cash to people, but we do try our best to find resources for people. So, I have to log off in just a minute. I'm actually on my lunch break at work right now.
I can
Yeah,
speak to this question.
Okay.
Thank you.
So, hi, my name is Zach. I work with ASA with the Cross Bay Mutual Aid Program. And so ACE is correct. We do not offer direct cash support to folks. What we do is try to connect folks with resources that are very often like geographically based. And I am actually the person who kind of helps coordinate that information. So what your person, the person that you know, or anyone should do is fill out our form, which Regina should be able to give you, and I certainly can, if not. And then we can communicate with you about how to help you given resources available in your community.
Okay, thank you. That's what I meant, the resources for the bill. Thank you so much for answering my questions.
Welcome.
I appreciate it.
Thank you so much, Zach. Okay, thank you, everyone. We're going to move into a 5-minute break, and then we're going to begin our panelists. And the first one who will be speaking is Miriam Juarez from the Alameda County Food Bank. So I'm going to give everybody 5 minutes. So come back at 1:40. Go ahead and take a break, grab some water, do a few stretches if you need to.
Sorry for being a little late. My computer was not cooperating. I live in, oh, I'm sorry, I'm not interrupting.
Greetings, everyone. I hope you had a chance to go out and do something essential, something necessary. And so now we're going to start with Miriam Juarez, who is the food line, the helpline supervisor for Alameda Food Bank.
Hi, good evening, everyone. Yes, I'm here to talk about our food helpline that we have at the Alameda County Community Food Bank. So we operate a food helpline where clients can call us and we help connect with food pantries, food resources, soup kitchens, and different resources that we have in our community. We serve all of Alameda County, so we have food pantries in almost every corner of every city in Alameda County. And we also right now, because of our social distancing and due to COVID, a lot of our food pantries started a drive-through food pantry, which is clients will go in with their cars and volunteers will load food in the trunks of vehicles for our community. We also have a food, these same resources are available online on foodnow.net. We also have, and this is very, very new, we understand that there are seniors, that there are clients with disabilities that are unable to leave home to pick up food. So right now we're piloting a program which is home delivery. But as of right now, our program is not long-term, so it's only a short-term food delivery. So it's on a as-needed emergency basis. But we are exploring further this program. But as of right now, we are able to support some of our seniors and some of our clients that are homebound and are unable to leave home to pick up food. And that form is also available at our website, which is foodnow.net. Clients can go on there and fill out that form, and one of our staff members will reach out and to complete that food delivery. Yeah, we have lots of resources. We also can help over the phone with CalFresh application assistance. We have a whole team that will help clients apply for CalFresh. We can also help with the quarterly and the yearly report to help our clients with their report requirements. Yeah, so we have lots of resources available. When clients call our food helpline, we have different languages that we're able to assist our clients in. We have, of course, Spanish, we have Cantonese, Mandarin, and any other language that the client can speak. We can reach out and get an interpreter to help us assist that client in their language. So yeah, we're fortunate enough to be able to assist in any language that the client speaks. Yeah, do you guys have any questions or comments? Or are the questions towards the end?
They can be at the end of your presentation.
Okay, yeah, that's all the presentation I had.
Okay, that was very informative. Does anybody have any questions? Oh, you said that you were going to start doing a mobile delivery?
Yes, so we've started a home delivery of groceries to our homebound seniors or clients that reach out to us. And it's only temporarily, so it's not ongoing, not like Meals on Wheels where it's ongoing. Our service right now is only a 2-time delivery, so it's for emergencies.
Okay, and is that throughout all of Alameda County?
Yes, throughout Alameda County. So clients can reach out to us, or our food helpline number is 510-635-3663, or on our website, which is foodnow.net.
Okay, I believe Ray has a question.
Hello, this is Ray. Thank you for your presentation today. What is the eligibility to receive food from your food bank?
None. We don't have any eligibility. Just call us and tell us that you need help, and we're here to help. We don't have any eligibility.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Could I have that number again, please?
Yes, it's 510-635-3663.
3636.
No, 3663. I will add it on the chat as well.
Thank you. If you could add your website and the phone number in the chat, that would be wonderful. Thank you so much. So that is like a 2-time offering?
For the home delivery, yes. For that program, it's just a 2-time delivery for now. We're exploring, if we can continue, but for now it's just a 2-time delivery. But for our drive-throughs and our food pantries, that's as needed, as many times as our clients need that assistance at our food pantry. That's ongoing.
Thank you so much, Miriam. Ray, do you
Actually,
have
I
another
have a question. This is David. And I know a lot of blind people who've been getting food bank deliveries both in Contra Costa County and Alameda County for years. So I don't really understand what you mean when you say you're only starting this program. I mean, many of us don't drive, so there's no way we can pick up food.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that might be through Meals on Wheels. So that's prepared meals. So these are delivery of groceries.
No, this is food bank boxes. They get it like twice a month, I think, something like that.
Okay, so that might be through a different program, which is through Mercy Brown Bag. I know they also have a grocery delivery program. So it might be through Mercy Brown Bag.
So this one here, the number, sorry. This one here, the number that you gave me will deliver to our door if we need it.
Yes.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Ray, did you have another question?
No, I don't. I guess somebody didn't raise my hand. I mean, lower my hand.
Okay. All right. Thank you, Miriam. That was very informative. I'm so excited about that new feature, like coming online to really work with the issue around access. Really appreciate that. And now we're going to move into, oh, thank you for adding everything in the chat as well, Miriam. Thanks. Now we're going to move into Zach, his presentation. And Zach works with the Cross Bay Mutual Aid Project, in case you haven't gathered that from his previous conversation. And can you tell us more about the project and your work with that, Zach?
Absolutely. So the Cross Bay Mutual Aid Project began in March of 2020 in response to everything that was going on in March of 2020. And it was and is a community volunteer-led organization, just people wanting to help other people. And I think perhaps that's why Regina asked me, out of this big network of people, to come and talk to you today, because I was a theater person in the before times. I still am to an extent, but I have skills that I wanted to, that I knew were going to be useful for other people to have. And so I wanted to give back and help connect people in a time of crisis to other people who could help. And that's, the Cross Bay Mutual Aid Project is made up of all people who are the same. And we believe strongly in this concept of mutuality, that we're all helping each other, and that a resilient community is an interconnected one. And so we are experimenting and attempting and often succeeding in finding ways to connect communities to themselves so that they can help each other. We do a lot of, we attempt to do as many long-term matchings as we can in terms of food delivery for those who are in need of that. And people like myself who are good with like research and stuff like that can help people who need help paying bills and don't know where to look, that kind of thing. What else can I say? Regina, help me help me out here.
What are the different programs or the different areas that you cover with the Cross Bay Mutual Aid Project?
Thank you. Yeah. A lot of what we do is deliveries of essential goods, food, cleaning supplies, stuff like that, to folks who can't, to folks who need that. We also, as Asa was saying, do home care to some individuals who need that. And we have a phone buddy system for people who feel isolated and want someone to talk to. And then we also can help people get plugged in, that's maybe the wrong word. We help people find resources, like I was saying earlier, that may be relevant to them. For example, very often people say, obviously, that they need money and that they need cash to pay bills. And sometimes cash is hard to come by, especially these days. And so we try to help people cost save in other departments. Are there like other programs that we can get you signed up for that will help you with your costs more broadly? And then the other thing that we do that I am most excited about, and that we're now having a lot of talks about now that vaccine rollout is happening, and we're entering a new phase of whatever this is, that we want to, again, like focus on the mutuality, and connecting communities to themselves and giving communities the communication tools and the relationship building capacity to be able to take care of themselves, and have neighbors helping neighbors. That's the vision we have for the future anyway. And we've been able to achieve that. And it's been really exciting.
Can you speak, thank you for that. Can you speak to how large your network is of members and also the coordinators? Because I found that very impressive.
Absolutely.
Uh-oh. Okay.
Apologies.
Okay, we got you back. Yay!
How long was I gone?
You were out for about 30 seconds.
How long was I just talking to myself? What was I saying?
So I asked about the network, how many members you have, and how wide is the geographical net that you have cast with this project?
We are in currently 3 counties actively, 2 counties very actively. Alameda and San Francisco, we're very active in. We have some activity in Contra Costa County, and we have some activity in San Mateo County. But again, because we are a network organization, we can kind of only move at the speed of like the communities that join us. And currently, like I said, we're most active in Alameda and San Francisco, but we have well over 1,000 people in our network. And again, like the distinction between who's like helping who is very gray, and that's very on purpose. That's again like this idea of mutuality and that we're all helping each other. So like some people are, you know, getting help with groceries and also doing some shopping for other people. And we have some people who like, you know, are feeling isolated themselves and have been doing phone buddies to like connect themselves with other people. You know, it's just, again, people helping people, neighbors helping neighbors is the idea. So yeah, but yeah, well over 1,000 people in the network across 4 counties, but mostly Alameda and San Francisco. And I guess I can say, I can take this opportunity to let you all know that we are going to be having a town hall of sorts on June 3rd. Because it's very important to us, and that everyone is a part of the decision-making process and that everyone has a say in what this network looks like moving forward, not just the people who have the capacity to be on coordinator Zoom calls. So yeah, you should all join us for that and let us know what you want to see. We have two, sorry, we just came up with these two questions, so they're not coming off the tongue as quickly as they should, but we have two questions that we're going to be asking everyone. And if you want to ask these questions with us, that would be great. It's how do you want to be helping your community, and how do you want to be helped by your community? Those are questions that we're going to be answering moving forward, and we'd love to have you a part of that conversation.
Thank you, Zach. With those questions for the town hall, are you prefacing a particular amount of time? Is this like, how do you want to be helped during the pandemic and beyond, or is this just pandemic specific?
I think it is actually mostly about beyond. At this point, like ready or not, the grand reopening is upon us. And while there's still a lot of work to do and a lot of pain being felt, things are changing. And so we want to know how we can create resiliency and interconnection in communities in ways that are going to be beneficial to those communities as we look toward the future.
Thank you for that clarity. I think that's really, really valid and very lucrative. I'm looking forward to the town hall myself. I think that's a great idea. Does anybody have any questions for Zach moving forward? Zach, do you have it where you're able to drop the link for the mutual aid form into the chat?
Absolutely. I can't put it into the chat because I'm having computer issues, and I don't think I can open up another application at the moment, but I can absolutely get it to you very soon. I would need to log off of here. Oh, Peter is on, and Peter put the link in. My hero.
Thank you.
Thank you, Peter.
Yes,
so fill
Peter's
out that
always
form.
ready.
And also, my email address is zacharyjoelk@gmail. That's ZACHARYJOELK.
Could you do that just a little bit? Could you do that just a little bit slower?
Oh, the interpreter totally got it. Or the ZACHARYJOELK. You could also reach us at cbmutualaid@gmail.com. That's Crossbay Mutual Aid @gmail.com.
Thank you so much.
Totally.
That was absolutely amazing.
Anytime, baby. Pleasure seeing you all on this gray Thursday.
And we will see you again soon. Thank you so much. And next on our panel, we have Charlie Dieterlin, the Executive Director with SOS Meals on Wheels.
Good afternoon.
Hello, Charlie. Thank you for coming today.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for the invitations. Great to be here. Pardon me. I just got here from a board meeting and giving a presentation on potential retirement plans. So that's entirely what's running through my brain right now. Please feel free to give me a prompt as to what you'd like me to speak about. All right.
Yes. Thank you for that. Well, I would just like to know the history of SOS Meals on Wheels in Alameda County, just a little brief history, and who you serve, what demographic you serve, and currently how have your or should I say, how has the pandemic affected
Of course.
your services?
Yes, ma'am. Thank you. SOS Meals on Wheels, also known as Service Opportunity for Seniors. It's the name of our organization when we were founded 55 years ago. Our DBA became SOS Meals on Wheels a number of years ago when our program focus became serving homebound seniors. We are the primary Meals on Wheels provider for the cities of Oakland, Hayward, San Leandro, as well as the unincorporated parts of the county in San Lorenzo and Castro Valley. We are currently located in San Leandro. We used to be in Hayward, and we shared an old church facility with Spectrum Community Services. And then about 8 years ago or so, each organization realized they needed its own space. So they're still in Hayward off West Winton. We're over here in San Leandro off the Davis track over near the Home Depot over here. We have a full commercial kitchen. We have office space and warehouse space over here. And we currently, due to COVID-19, are making meals for all of our clients, as well as we're the meal provider for Life Elder Care that does all of the Meals on Wheels deliveries in Fremont, Newark, and Union City. And since the onset of COVID-19, we've been partnering with Spectrum Community Services again, as their congregate meal program had to temporarily shut down, as all of the places where seniors used to be able to come together and have lunch, senior centers, churches, places like that. Once that became unavailable, we worked together to come up with a solution for those meals to still get to those people. The meals that we produce in our kitchen are delivered either chilled or frozen. So they actually work really well as a to-go meal or a grab-and-go meal. So we were able to invite their kitchen staff to join our staff in our kitchen and work alongside each other to make meals for all three programs. So in terms of how COVID has affected our program, that's one way. Another is that you may have heard the National Meals on Wheels organization referring to what we do as more than just a meal. And that's a huge part of it. We don't just provide a daily meal and healthy nutrition, but also a daily social visit, a wellness check, that the social interaction that can help fight loneliness and isolation. And we've not had a staff member or volunteer step foot in a client's home in 13 months. So we've had to pivot how we go about our meal delivery. One of our biggest fears, because we have hundreds of people coming, a couple hundred people coming in and out of our building every day and have a fully operational kitchen, our biggest fear that was how susceptible we might be to an outbreak and how many people that could potentially affect. So we've essentially kind of cordoned off different parts of our building to different people. Our drivers can now no longer go in the kitchen, go in the office spaces. Our kitchen staff only goes in one part of the building. Our office staff no longer goes in the kitchen. So we've had a lot. We used to have 10 to 20 volunteers in our kitchen every single day. We haven't had a volunteer in our kitchen in 13 months. So as meal production has gone up, the number of people in the kitchen has gone down. But we've been able to partner with other organizations like Hands On Bay Area, which marshaled volunteers from Kaiser and PG&E to make regular wellness phone calls to our clients. And we worked with them to come up with a list of a series of questions, some of which had triggering actions. Like if it seemed as though an individual was lonely or really was interested in further communication and contact, we were able to arrange for a weekly or daily check-in call, just to have a chat, just to have some socialization, not just that, here's your meal, how are you doing, do you need anything, just kind of that, the more laid back, personal and personable interactions that we used to be able to provide in the home. So that's been wonderful. In terms of how else it's affected our organization, everything is socially distanced now, as I think is true for all of us, but that means that instead of coming in the home and putting a meal in a fridge or on a counter, everything gets packed into a plastic or reusable bag and hung on the doorknob. And then we knock on the door and then we back away 6 to 10 feet, say, Meals on Wheels. and have conversations from about 10 feet away. And that means we're not able to see into the home and really kind of observe the living conditions, the living situation, see how we might be able to connect a client with other services that they might need. That's been the most difficult thing for us to really make sure that we are as effective as we were a year ago. And every week we're trying new ways to make sure that we can do that. But our goal that we set a year ago was to say yes to every single eligible senior that reached out to us. And that's someone 60 years or older who is either homebound and or is not able to get out of the house to get themselves food or prepare food for themselves from scratch. So our goal was to say yes to every single senior who reached out to us during the pandemic. We eliminated our existing wait list a year ago. We've not had one since. We've said yes to every single senior who's reached out, who's been eligible. In the past 12 months, we've served nearly 3,300 seniors. And for the first time in our organization's history, this fiscal year, we are going to serve over 500,000 meals. And with the partnerships with other organizations, we're going to have nearly 800,000 meals come out of our kitchen over a 12-month period, which is about 125% of what had ever come out, 225% of what had ever come out of our kitchen in a 12-month period before. And that's in the same space with only a couple more people, a couple more hours per day, and a lot of dedication and a lot of effort and a lot of community support. So we're really, really proud of the fact that not only have we not had an outbreak here, that everybody had buy-in on masks and washing hands and hand sanitizing, but that we've been able to respond to the needs of our community than we've never been able to before. And we continue being able to say yes to everyone who needs us.
Thank you. That's absolutely fabulous. Thank you for coming with the metrics and very specifics about the breadth and depth of your service and how it has expanded to meet the needs of the community. And so I would like to ask, how does a person become eligible for your services?
Sure. And actually, one other thing I can say is, fortunately, there are a lot of ways to make contact with us. And that was evidenced by the fact that we enrolled more people last year than we ever have before. I tend to think of and refer to COVID as, while almost entirely negative, it has for our organization, I think others like us, it's been the great matchmaker. People who are eligible for and might need our service who we didn't know how to find, or who didn't yet know how to figure out how to get a hold of us, we found each other. And a lot of that's because the next door neighbor or the family member out of state who can't come and check, or the family member who doesn't think it's safe for them to come and visit their older family member. They marshaled their resources to figure out what they could do to help kind of enlist the people that they care about. So the easiest way to do this is to give us a call. And I'll put our phone number and contact information in the chat here. But we have an automated phone system that currently has my voice as the guide, but maybe we'll have a professional take that over at some point. But it's very clear. If you're in, one of the first two options are, if you're interested in signing up for Meals on Wheels service and you live in Oakland, press 1. If you're interested in signing up for Meals on Wheels and you live in blah, 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 press 2. And then it goes directly to the extension of the people who do intake for those geographic areas. There are also links all over our website at sosmow.org, which of course I'll put in the chat. Our current turnaround time is about 48 hours from that initial phone call to first meal arriving. That is our goal. Depending, it can take up to 72 hours. And that's just the delayed logistics of the fact that we went from a year ago having 52 routes leaving our building to now every day between 90 and 94 routes. And we do all of our own routing and route optimization in-house. So the logistics of that, redoing that every day, can take a little bit longer, but 48 to 72 hours within that first kind of intake phone call, we'll have meals out there. We are currently also, just a heads up, we are currently keeping a supply of shelf-stable meals in our warehouse. So if someone reaches out and they are in a dire situation, they have no food, we'll do everything that we can within 12 to 24 hours to get at least a delivery of some shelf-stable food that they can eat until our fresh-made meals arrive. Yeah, I hope it's pretty darn easy.
That sounds absolutely amazing. And I know that that in-house routing system that you put together really helps with the turnaround time and the outreach as well, and people and the consistency. How often are people able to receive meals, and for what period of time?
Of course. We deliver meals Monday through Friday. We are closed on weekends, but we provide, based on need, up to 7 meals per week. So if someone needs 7 meals per week, on Thursday, they'll get 2 meals, and on Friday, they'll get 2 meals. So 5 deliveries per week, totaling anywhere from 3 to 7 meals, depending on need and desire, essentially. When someone signs up to and is enrolled in Meals on Wheels service, if they are asking for service for a finite period, like if someone has a hip replacement and they know they're not going to be getting out of the house to go doing any grocery shopping for a couple of months, I need help until I can get out of the house again, then we'll make a note to, after that estimated time period, check in, say, do you still need? And they say yes or no, and we'll act accordingly. Otherwise, we do an additional assessment of every single client every 6 months. From the date of their first enrollment, we do a reassessment of their situation at that time every 6 months thereafter. And if we deem together that that person has essentially graduated out of the program and no longer needs the services, then we'll cease service. More likely, though, we'll continue service and we'll begin making contact and referrals to additional service providers, because as aging never stops, the need for more help only grows.
Thank you. Does anyone else have any questions? I just have, thank you, Maya.
Sure. Yeah, this is such a great, I'm learning so much. So thank you. Thank you. I was wondering in terms, and maybe you covered this and I was spacing out, but I can think of a couple elders I know that have food allergies or don't eat gluten or sugar, or have particular dietary needs. Did you address that, or are there ways that folks can get regular meals that match their cultural foods?
Sure.
Also, like my mother-in-law lives downstairs and is Mexican Chinese, and prefers to have foods from her, from Mexican and Chinese cuisines. And
of course,
I was wondering if there's any adaptation around.
Those are fantastic questions, and none of them were previously addressed. So
okay.
I will say that I joined our organization about 1.5 years ago, and we've been discussing very regularly what we're doing well, what we need to improve upon, and what we'd love to improve upon. I think more culturally diverse and appropriate meals, and more kind of medically flexible meals, I think, are the greatest opportunities for change or needs for growth here. We try to have a variety throughout the month of cultural variety, but not everyone is Chinese and Mexican and is going to be looking forward to both of those. Very often it's, I prefer this, and you don't offer that, so I'm not very interested, which makes a lot of sense. There are some other providers in Alameda County that do have very specific kind of culturally focused meals, not nearly as many. We are working towards piloting a program right at around the end of this fiscal year, I'd say June or July probably, where we will at least be offering a full vegetarian menu as opposed to a partial vegetarian menu like we have now, as well as mechanically softened, pureed, and renal diets. Figuring out how to pivot to a gluten-free offering is the most difficult one that we've identified, because we aren't sophisticated enough to be able to do that out of our kitchen safely with that guarantee that everything's gluten-free. And we've not yet identified a partner that would be able to provide a meal that also meets the guidelines of the Older Americans Act, which all of our meals have to conform to. But that for me, just because of how many people I know, and especially around here, need or would prefer a gluten-free diet. I really want to find a way to make that possible within the next year, but it might take that long.
Yeah, it's definitely an interest of mine. We have a family with 3 out of 4 having chronic and acute disabilities, and the 4th person is 86, yeah, like my husband has a low platelet condition that gluten-free is really important, and he just had surgery, and I've been like really struggling to community fundraise to get money to have people help us with food and stuff. But
of course,
yeah, I know I thought of reaching out to you, but I was like, you probably wouldn't eat a lot of the food.
Well,
Yeah,
just in case, and I don't know exactly what menu options they have, but I'm going to put also in the chat a link to a for-profit company called Mom's Meals. They do provide meals that do conform to the Older Americans Act. They have national distribution, and I believe they also offer a lot of different dietary kind of variety there. We've considered partnering with them, but their model is, and why they work with distributors like us, but they also work primarily direct to consumer, direct to participant, in that they would ship directly to your home 2 weeks worth of meals for whichever menu you select. And now not everyone that we serve can handle a box with 14 days worth of food in it, but maybe if there's more people at home, that could be possible to help out. But I'd suggest checking them out just in case.
thank you.
Of course.
Thank you, Charlie, for sharing such an amazing resource and so much in-depth information about your organization, past, present, and future. Thank you for the work that you do in the community.
You all, thanks so much for the opportunity to talk about what we're doing and help connect a couple folks, or maybe even a lot of folks, to what it is we're doing and how we can help your community.
Definitely. Thank you so much. Does anyone else have any other questions? Okay. Then we're going to go next to Danielle and Vera, representatives of, I'm sorry, goodbye, Charlie. Representatives of City Slicker Farms and the mutual aid Town Fridge project that is happening in Alameda County. So if you want to unmute.
Yes, hi everybody. We're gonna try to screen share with you all. Can you see? Okay, great. Cool. Yay, technology.
We don't know what we're doing with this, so. Okay, cool. Sorry that you can't see our mouths, but since we're right next to each other, we figured Max is probably the best way to go. So yeah, we're representing City Slicker Farms here in West Oakland. My name is Vera Lopez. I am the volunteer coordinator. And
my name is Danielle Smith, and I'm the communications coordinator.
Yeah, we're both AmeriCorps members. We have one more AmeriCorps Vista here. This is the first time that City Slickers has hosted Vistas. This is our second time ever doing or serving for AmeriCorps. And then our third person, this is her third time actually. So we're sort of AmeriCorps vets. And yeah, basically the reason why City Slickers has us is because we are an extra form of support, and the government pays us instead of them. So next.
So the mission at City Slicker Farms is to increase wellness and build community through equitable access to healthy food, thriving gardens, and urban green spaces. So basically meaning we're trying to connect people to not only having access to healthy foods, but also teaching them how to grow their own foods and giving them healthy food processes. So what our work and how it aligns with mutual aid, we're gonna talk about 4 of our programs. One being our gardens program. The second, our most popular, is we're a part of the Town Fridge Collective. And then we're also gonna talk about the Community Council and volunteer programs. All right, so first, our garden programs. We have 2 garden programs. The first one is our community gardeners, and we have 28 irrigated plots at our location at the West Oakland Farm Park for folks to come grow their own food. We also have our backyard gardeners, in which we give them 2 raised planter beds to grow their own foods. Both garden programs are given free compost, free seed starts, and also 2 years of mentorship, so that they can learn and grow along. So we're not just providing folks with food, but also the knowledge to how to grow their own food. It's like that saying of you can feed somebody with fish, or you could teach them how to fish. So that's that. And also with our garden programs, we prioritize low and fixed income families, but we also partner not only with individuals, but we could partner with senior centers or daycares or schools. And then the mentorship and programming will slightly shift depending on the community that we're working with. A big part of our programming, again, is our planter box builds, and it's also a big part of our mentorship. So I kind of wanted to show a quick video of our executive director talking about how we build those planter boxes and how that might change depending on the community that we're working with.
So there's lots of ways that you can start your own garden. Certainly you can start in the soil that you may have. We often usually encourage people to use a planter of some kind. You can use things like wine barrels, metal containers. There's all kinds of different things that you can use. We usually build planter boxes that look like this. So our planter boxes are 4 feet wide by 8 feet long. The 4-foot size is chosen in part because it makes it really easy for people to use. So if you're thinking about bending over the garden, you don't want to have to be way over here to get the things that you need. We want things to be close, right, to where people are, like arms length apart. In terms of the height that we use, we also can be flexible based on the needs of the people we're working with. So if we're working with children, maybe a height like this is great for the kids we might be working with, but maybe if we're working with folks who are older, maybe they have back problems, maybe they want to sit in a chair or a wheelchair while they garden, something a little taller, like these boxes that are behind me over here, might be a better choice. So think about kind of what your needs are. Adjustments can be made because of those.
So yeah, because of COVID, things have slightly changed with our garden program and our planter box builds. Like a lot of other panelists have shared, we've had to stop a lot of our house visits. We used to do, I believe, like 3 or 4 visits a week, and those had to stop. And ways we've been trying to navigate around that is instead of like dropping off seedlings and compost to our gardeners, we have a plant pickup table at our site where they can come socially distance. There's wheelbarrows and kind of just things that'll help them get their resources to their car if they need to. So that's one thing. And we also are collaborating with other organizations to do workshops. Like, for example, these planter box builds on our website, we have a page that has a packet on how you can make it yourself. And this video is actually a longer video that shows them step-by-step instructions on how to build their own planter box if they wanted to.
So there's lots of ways that you can start your own garden.
Round two.
Round two.
Just kidding. Yeah, so aside from our garden programs with her to build autonomy within our community here, we also have our mutual aid situation with Town Fridge. Town Fridge is separate from us. They are a collective of free food fridges all around Oakland. I think there's around 20 or something like that. It really is just run by a bunch of anarchists, bunch of individuals who give up their time before, during, after work, unsure when they have the time to do this, honestly, but people go to the food bank and load on up and then go around to all of the fridges and fill them up for us, which is awesome. Cool thing about us though is that because we are a farm, we get to actually provide our vegetables and our fresh fruit or fresh food. We don't really have fruit, that's a lie. Fresh food into the refrigerator. So that's a cool thing about our mutual relationship with the Town Fridges. Not only do people donate food and get food from the food bank, but we have so many veggies and so many greens in there.
And eggs, because we have chickens.
Yeah, I forgot. We have eggs too, because we have chickens. So yeah, it's really cool. This fridge is open 24/7, anytime. Anyone can, or all the fridges around town, anyone can come in, donate, pick up whatever you like. It is prioritized for low income, Black and brown people of color, but I mean, it's just a community oriented thing. So, you know, we give and we take, we receive and we give. So it's pretty wonderful. The only thing that we don't accept is like raw meat, all those HelloFresh boxes that are just like packaged, like extremely packaged boxes. We don't want to do anything to do with that. Or obviously like open food containers. Nobody wants like your open cottage cheese or something. So there's that. But yeah, this is a really cool situation. And if you see them around town, check them out. They're all over the place. Yeah. And then next, this is a recent development based off of the fact that COVID changed a lot of stuff. We came out in December, so it was like a very tumultuous time. So we decided to start a community council, and we have around like 10 people that we've recruited. The purpose of the council is really to support our mission and ensure that our programs, events, structures, and all the strategies that we put in place really represent the diversity of West Oakland, and like as well as honoring the history of West Oakland, since there's such a deep and rich history, especially with Black and Asian people, since like 18 something this area. It has been heavily industrialized, so it's been a really thick area of workers and essential workers and whatnot. So the community council really is in place so that we can gain insight, because most of us aren't locals or people who grew up in West Oakland, or you know all the little nuance and intricacies of this particular little enclave. So yeah, we wanted more broader understanding of West Oakland and to bring other people. It's a very diverse group of people, so that's great, so that we can have all the kinds of insight. Like aside from our board and our staff and our volunteers, this is sort of a different part of the hub. Yeah, and then I'm the volunteer coordinator, so we always need volunteers. You can participate with us by either volunteering here at the farm. You could seed or label or weed or all different kinds of farm tasks. We have virtual opportunities. We have mask making opportunities now, or different projects that we're planning on doing. And obviously you can participate with the town fridge 24/7. So that's an amazing way to easily volunteer and give back to us, or just the community, not necessarily us. And then obviously donations. That's another way that we really thrive, is by really getting resources from other organizations and local people.
Yeah. And then here are the many ways you can contact us. We're located at the intersection of Peralta and Helen Street in West Oakland. We're open 7 days a week from 11 to 6 right now. And here's our website, and you can email us at this address, info@cityslickerfarms.org. And then if you do decide to come and visit us, we are wheelchair accessible. And there's a lot of seating and things of that nature for folks. So, are there any questions that folks may have? I'm gonna stop the screen share.
Yeah, I'm kind of an interested gardener, and well, been growing the fruits and trying to do better, but the vegetable one, it's very interesting what you're doing, and I commend you. Would you do you give out, if they wanted to plant their own vegetable in their own garden, would they be able to come down and get some plants for, or do you have to buy them?
We don't sell any of our seeds or seedlings at this time because of COVID and because our staff is so limited. We do reserve most of our seeds and seedlings for our garden members. However, sometimes on the plant table, like, we're very seasonal when we grow our seeds. So if something is like a month old or something, and you see one of us, we'll be like, okay, take it, we won't look. But also, yeah, we do that. And then sometimes we'll do events, like I think we're trying to plan a seed giveaway. So that's one way you can get seeds as well.
I see. All right. It's very good. What I'm trying to do better in my gardening, and I haven't got my tomatoes out yet, but trying. That's
I turned it off. I had some water on, but I forgot.
Oh, you burned the water?
I need, oh, hang on.
I have the maps, the graphics for the town fridge. And so I put them in the survival sheets. The survival sheets are the digital resource list that is available at the end of the survival series. So survival school series. So I will make that available to everyone so you can see the different locations of the town fridge. And also I do have some resources for soil and some seedlings as well, where you can pick up for free. And I did have a question, Danielle and Vera, that I know that you all build beds for people's yards. What if a person's living in like an apartment and they only have a small balcony? Because I noticed in the video, your executive director was speaking about how the many different containers you can use to garden. Do you talk to people or have resources to share with them about container gardening, like in small spaces if you don't have a yard?
Yeah, and that was kind of the point of our mentorship program. We would talk to the families about what they had and how we could build off of that. So you can use in apartments, like your windowsill, maybe create a small little glass container for a greenhouse if you wanted to kind of get your seeds going. Also, you can use again, metal containers or tiny boxes to start growing some of those smaller plants. So yeah, I think it would be based on the need of like the individual or the community that we're working with, and figuring out like, what do you have, what's accessible, what can we offer you, and how can we get your garden started so that you can start growing your own food.
Thank you. Thank you so much, because a lot of seniors and people with disabilities do live in more like apartment settings and stuff. And I didn't want the fact that maybe if they didn't have a yard as that to be a deterrent. And it was important for me to let them know that it was accessible and that you can grow anywhere. And you all did speak to that, and you are doing that work. And I'm really happy that you were able to come and share that.
Thank you.
Yeah, with apartment buildings, I know that we don't do balcony things or anything like that. I know that our executive director, Julie, she tried with PVC piping, but we're still figuring out, because plastic's really toxic and you don't want to be growing your food in plastic, actually. So we're still trying to figure out best practices for that. That's why for apartment buildings, we don't do individual humans. We just do like a big plot at whatever part of the building that they can do it. We'll just do like a community garden for the whole building instead of individual. Yeah, so that's what we do for the seniors and preschools and stuff. We actually have like just the individual box or the community boxes rather than it being in their backyard and stuff, because obviously not everybody has a backyard. That's why we have our plots here, which is not enough because there's only 30 families for here, but we're working on that. We do plan to make more boxes for other like organizations to go and have sovereignty in their own little area. I really want to work with the American Indian Child Resource Center. I have lots of friends there, so they have a program called Sovereign Seeds that is all run by their youths, and so which I think is cool, because like youths teaching youths is dope, and that's what I used to do when I was younger. So like that's how we, youth voices are what it's about. So yeah, that's what we do. We try our best to accommodate everybody because we really want to have food autonomy and for people to have food sovereignty-ish, because like, I don't know, food sovereignty is a hard thing to acquire here in urban life, but we're trying our best. Yeah, it's pretty cool. We're gonna try to have even more partnerships. So if anybody wants to reach out to us, obviously reach out. And we're really trying to have this mutual situation with other orgs so that we can either go in and build planter boxes at the organizations or just something. There's so many options.
Thank you. Thank you. I'm looking forward to having those conversations with the both of you. Definitely.
I've done AmeriCorps before, so
I know.
I know how great it is.
Yeah, I did
Good
too.
job.
I had a lot of fun.
Can we get the soil from calling that same number or no? Like you were mentioning, how to get the pre-seedling or the soil?
So we have a pretty extensive list right now. There's a pretty long wait list to be on, to have a plot here at the farm park. And then I know that there's a pretty long list of people also who have requested for us to go into their yards and stuff. So I know obviously COVID sort of halted all of those plans for a bit. But we're starting back up again this year. Slowly but surely to do that, but it is a wait list. There are a lot of people who are interested in this, and since we do prioritize low income, fixed income people, or Black and brown and immigrant people, yeah, it's a pretty extensive list because the Bay Area has a lot of people. So but if you just come and we're here, we'll throw you a bag of dirt and some some of our old starts, because after a while, once they get to too big, we actually we just give them away. So yeah.
They just magically dry off.
We just make so many plants that sometimes they get too big and we can't we can't hold on to them. So
yeah, that's great.
That's awesome. Thank you so much. Oh, Maya has a question. Maya's hand is up.
Is it okay that I have so many questions? I know we're trying to step up, step back. I had a question. We live in East Oakland on San Antonio Park, and we've lived here for 19 years and have never been able to get into the community garden in the park across the street from us, which has been frustrating because we live here. But I was wondering if you have a sibling program, particularly our daughter is 16. So I was like, yes to the youth organizing, born and raised right here, and just got her license. So I was wondering, one, if 16-year-olds can participate in AmeriCorps or if you have to be 18. That was the first question. And then if you have a sibling, East Oakland, we're in San Antonio neighborhood, which is between Fruitvale and Chinatown. Yeah.
Well, for the AmeriCorps question, it's 18.
18.
You just have to have your high school diploma. You don't need to have your bachelor's or anything. That's for Peace Corps. You have to have all of that. But yeah, AmeriCorps is great as an option for her if she's doing a gap year or something like that. Or after, I did it right after college and worked for 826 Valencia in San Francisco. So that was cool, even though I'm not a writer. But yeah. And then as for the East Bay, I mean, I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. We would have to double check about a youth program or partner program with that. I know here at City Circle Farms, like at our West Oakland Farm Park, and Vera can speak more to this, we have a lot of youth who will volunteer on Sundays with us.
Yeah. So on Sundays, I I have my students at 12 come, and I have all Bishop O'Dowd high school students. Pretty much, I don't know why we primarily just have a bunch of O'Dowd kids, but we have other people. It's open to any high schooler who needs their hours or just wants to volunteer. But I'm here every Sunday for the high schoolers at noon. So if she's trying to come, you can drop her off with me for 2 hours and I'll put her to work.
Okay, cool. Thank you so much. Yeah.
Anyone else? Oh, Regina, you're muted.
It was wonderful having you both. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Hope to see you guys.
Yes, definitely. Thank you so much for your slideshow, your presentation.
Thanks. Yeah, thank you guys.
Okay, so should we have just a couple minutes break and then go into questions, or do we want to go straight into the questions, into our reflection and discussion? How do we feel about that? Raise your hand if you could use a 5-minute break. Okay. So then we'll see everybody back at 10 minutes until 2:50.
Watch me take my serve. Watch me take it. She doesn't know what hit her. Glimpses of her soul. Has a seamless dinner. Numbers on the plate. It's my turn now. 1 minute to the out.
Welcome back, everyone. I hope you had a chance to just take a little breather, let some of that information kind of settle in your brain, in your body. In some ways, it feels like it was a really intense and intensely compacted session with a lot of information. So I just wanted to reflect on a few things, perhaps through some questions, and speaking about food justice, looking at the resources that were presented today. How do we see food justice as a form of mutual aid? The way that it's showing up in our communities through agencies and grassroots efforts.
I would say that from what I've heard, it's justice because it's being advertised and made available, trying to reach neighborhoods and communities. And once people know about it, they can be benefited from the program. It's open. So it's bringing justice for food being available, made available.
I agree with that, Cora, like food being made available to people who previously did not have access, and also the kind of food, like Charlie Dieterlin was speaking about how they have increased their production to reach by 225% to reach individuals that normally that they wouldn't have been able to reach, how they had been thinking about how they were going to bridge that gap of access. And because of the pandemic, it's like people started coming to them. And so then they were inspired to create a system to support the people coming to them. And that was definitely a form of, it seemed like it was like a form of structural like aid where the need presented itself and they built a system to accommodate that.
I would say also, if it's through justice is part of government. So as they showed, some past presidents, it's part of governing, and governing is for the people. These are programs for the people to help the people. And these are people who need, assistance, and everybody in this case needs assistance. Some people are able to get it themselves or from family, are very fortunate, but some people need it from other forms. And so we've been learning of other forms of ways to get assistance. And it's very important to have access. So.
Yeah, definitely. Yes, Jessica.
Yeah, I love the question, and I was thinking about how food is just such an important way that we all connect with each other, right? With friends, with family, if someone is sick, if someone dies, if we're celebrating, right? Like every occasion is about sharing food. And so it's been really interesting being part of the mutual aid project and seeing how meaningful it can be to have neighbors and community members provide each other with food or connect over food. And it also raises a lot of questions and can be challenging, that it's different in some ways, I think, for that reason, and for others from other programs and services that we expect the government to provide. And, I think we all still believe that food is a right, and that government should take responsibility for making sure people have food, but how do we connect it with community?
Yeah, definitely. And isn't that the ongoing inquiry, all the different ways that we are looking at answering that question with the systems and the services that are popping up, that are being extended, and the populations that we're serving, how that is like constantly shifting. Yes, Cora?
No, I was looking at that.
Does anyone have anything else that they would like to add? Was there anything that you learned today that you didn't know with food service, Meals on Wheels, Alameda County Food Bank? Was there any information that, oh, Ray, thank you. Hello? Ray, I see your hand.
She's muted.
Ray,
I think
see
I'm
you.
here now.
Okay.
Hello?
Hello, we can
Oh,
hear you.
yes. Great, great. Can you, is there anybody on the call that can, I've never heard of, I think it was called Mom's Kitchen.
Can you say that again, please?
Earlier in the call, one of the speakers mentioned something about, I'm not sure if I'm saying it correctly, Mom's Kitchen.
Oh, Mom's Meals.
Oh, Mom's Meals. Thank you. Could you explain a little bit more about Mom's Meals if you can?
Well, I believe that was SOS Meals on Wheels through, there we go.
Thank you.
Yeah, I think
There's-
Charlie mentioned something
Yes.
called Moms Meals, which is www.momsmeals.com. I don't remember. I think maybe they were the ones that were offering like gluten-free and other like allergen-friendly meal delivery.
Okay, thank you.
Oh yeah, they were the ones that had the 2-week surplus that they were able to give. So instead of SOS Meals on Wheels giving you 2 to 3 at a time, up to 7 a week, they were able to give you 14 meals, so like a 2-week meal plan. Thank you, Rhea. Thank you, Rhea, for jogging my memory. So there's another thing that I really enjoy about the community garden piece is that I know with people who have dietary restrictions, like you can get access to vegetables, not always fruit, but fruit sometimes, to like a lot of like fresh vegetables. And then also the gardening part of it, with horticulture therapy for so many people who are not able to get out all the time, where mobility is a concern, that they're able to have their hands in the soil, able to, interact with something that's growing, something that they're tending to to alleviate stress. And then the end product of that is something that they can eat. And so I was hoping that we could explore a little bit more what that looks like for those of us who don't have like big backyards or can't get to, big garden plots, all the time. Like I live in an apartment that doesn't have a front or a backyard. And it's like, what would I do, here for myself if I wanted to grow something, even something small, like just like some herbs, like maybe like some green onions and, some basil or some, or some thyme or something like that, or some garlic, even starting small. So I thought that that was really good today that we were able to see the different organizations and agencies that were able to help us with meals, and then also being able to like dream a little bit about what that would look like if we were able to garden and grow a little bit ourselves. Does anybody have anything that they would like to add or like to share? So I guess, oh, Ray, I see.
I feel, oh,
Let
I'm
me
sorry.
let me unmute him again. So did you have another question, Ray, or do I just need to lower your hand?
Can I also have the website for the city slickers again, please?
Oh, yeah, definitely. Let me put that in there for you right now. So how are we feeling right now? It's 3:01. This is the end of today's Survival School series on food justice and mutual aid. Thank you everyone for attending. And I will see you all next Tuesday on the 27th. We're talking about mental health and community response.
Thank you so much, Regina, and thank you everyone who participated and showed up.
Thank you, everybody.
Yeah, hope to see you all
City Slickers Farm.
next week on Tuesday. Oh yeah, Regina just shared for people on the phone. The website is www.cityslickersfarm.org. Yeah, just spelled out City Slickers.
Is it farms with an S?
No, just farm singular, but Slickers has an S at the end.
Ah, sorry about that.
Yeah, so we'll be back on Tuesday. What date is that? The 27th.
27?
Yeah, same time, same Zoom link.
Everybody have a great week.
Oh, wait,
You
City
too,
Slicker
Ray.
doesn't have an S.
Oh, it doesn't.
It doesn't?
Unless I'm looking at the wrong one. I just looked it up.
No, that's the only one.
Yeah, City Slicker doesn't have an S, but then there is an S on farms.
Oh, there is.
Ah, thank you.
Sorry. There it is.
There we go.
Thanks, everyone. This is great.
Thank
Glad to
you
be a
so
part
much.
of it.
Thanks, everyone.
Good.
Bye, everybody.
Bye,
Thank you.
Ray. Bye, Cora. Bye,
Bye-bye.
Rebecca.
Bye-bye.
Bye, Maya.
Thanks.
Bye,
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 June and Sonia.
Sorry for
Bye,
the beginning
Cora.
was hard
Bye,
getting in.
Rebecca. Bye, Sonia.
Bye-bye.
Bye, Vera.
Oh, there we go. Computer is not cooperating today.
Oh, no.
That's why I had trouble getting in. I was a little
Yeah.
like, there we go.
Oh, no. That's,
Okay.
yeah.
There we go. I think.
All right. Nice seeing you, Rebecca. Yeah. Have a good weekend.